Chapter 5, 155. Dinner with Friends. A few days later, a delicious aroma was slowly spreading through Sonny's home. He was currently in the kitchen area of the first floor, whistling an upbeat tune as his hands juggled several cooking utensils. There were several pans and pots simmering on the stove, and a scattering of fresh ingredients on the countertops around him. "Ah, this smells so good." Taking a step to the side, he produced a strange knife out of nowhere and started slicing and dicing the vegetables, the triangular blade moving so fast that it turned into a blur. Rain, who was tasked with peeling the potatoes, gave him a long and dark look. "Sonny, not to doubt your honesty and professional integrity, but how exactly is this a part of my training? Are you sure you're not just using me as cheap labor? No, wait, it's not even cheap. I am actually paying you." Without stopping what he was doing, Sonny looked at her and frowned. "Why, of course. I am very sure. Also, is this how you handle a blade? By gods, you just sliced half of that poor potato off and threw it into the sink. It's called peeling, not destroying, you know. Where's your finesse? Where's your precision? Control that knife better. These things are very expensive." Rain stared at him with burning resentment for a few moments, then sighed heavily and continued peeling the potatoes. Sonny grinned. Effie, who was watching him cook with a wolfish expression, gulped. "So, it's not ready yet?" His eyes twitched. 40 seconds, damn it. That's how long ago you asked the same question. For 100th time. What do you think changed since then?" Effie opened her mouth to retort, but at that moment, the doorbell rang. A sadistic light suddenly gleamed in Sonny's eyes. "Oh, I wonder who can it be?" He glanced at Rain and said nonchalantly, "Rain, go see who it is." The teenage girl blew a strand of hair out of her eyes, wiped her hands on her apron, and glared at him. "What, I am your doorman now, too?" Grumbling, she put the knife down and went to the door, then opened it. Sonny observed her with keen interest. Rain looked up, revealing that the unexpected visitor was quite tall, and then suddenly froze. Her face paled so much that it turned almost entirely white, and her pupils became as wide as saucers. Her mouth hung open. It was as though the girl was paralyzed by horror. Sonny weighted the heavy kunai in his hand and walked over. As he walked, a strange sound escaped Rain's mouth. A tall and ridiculously attractive young man was standing on the porch, looking at her with a polite and friendly smile. His hair was auburn and absolutely gorgeous, and his electric green eyes were nothing short of stunning. He was dressed in simple but exquisitely stylish clothes, holding fashionable sunglasses and a face mask in one of his hands. "Oh, I am so sorry. I must have come to the wrong house." Even his voice was charming and velvety, causing one's ears to tingle. Rain was finally able to force out a word, her voice a panicked squeal. Night!" Sonny gave her a short look, shook his head, then smiled at Kai. "Hyung, you're here. Sorry, the dinner isn't even ready yet. Come on in, come on in." Kai returned his smile and came inside. Sonny raised a hand and poked Rain in the back, then narrowed his eyes and said with exasperation, "Rain, why are you just standing there? Get my Hyung some slippers quick." Then he turned to Kai and sighed. "So sorry. That's Rain, a girl I tutor. She's a bit slow sometimes." Kai glanced at her, two lethally cute dimples appearing on his cheeks. "I am sure that is not true. It is very nice to meet you, Rain." She opened her mouth, trying to say something, but no words came out of her mouth. Sonny waited for a couple of moments, then shook his head again and bent down to push a pair of house shoes to Kai. "Make yourself at home. This is the living room. I'll be over there in the kitchen area for a bit, but please, for the love of gods, can you distract Effie? She's driving me crazy." Kai laughed, patted him on the shoulder, and went in to greet the hungry huntress. Sonny and Rain were momentarily left alone. The teenage girl breathed heavily for a few moments, then slowly looked down at her dirty apron and hands with pieces of potato peel stuck to them. An expression of utter horror appeared on her face. Then, she looked at him with wide eyes and whispered, "Sonny, why isn't Night in your house?" He blinked a couple of times, pretending to not understand the question. What do you mean? Kai is a dear friend of mine. We're practically brothers, one might say. What's wrong with you today? Sunny shook his head in derision. Rain stared at him in shock, then opened her mouth to say something. However, before she could, the doorbell rang again. Sunny calmly opened the door, revealing a petite, exquisitely beautiful young woman standing on the porch. She had delicate features, pale blonde hair, and stunning blue eyes. Despite the fact that the young woman was dressed humbly, there was an aura about her that made it almost impossible to look away. It was as though she was a pristine heavenly creature that had somehow found her way to the dirty, imperfect, mundane world. In her hand she was holding a long, white cane. Cassie hesitated for a moment, then turned her head a little, facing Sunny. I hope I am not late. Rain stared at her with a ghostly expression. Song of the... Then she turned to Sunny as well, her eyes even wider than before. Poor thing looked as if she was about to faint. Sunny smiled brightly. Ah, finally. Vengeance.